Lesson 44, Parts of the Bow. From Part 3, Bow. From Learn Violin Fast, Book 1. In order for us to use the bow, we have to know what its parts are and what they do. We're going to go in order. This is the tip. This is the stick of the bow. This is the grip. Now this can come in many shapes and forms. This can be metal, it can be silver, it can even be gold, it could be plastic, or it could also just be rubber, but this is the grip. This is the adjustment screw. This tightens the bow and this loosens the bow. So when we don't use the bow, we should keep the bow hair loose. This should be kind of a little bit just not super duper loose, but not tight as well, so that the bow and the hair does not stretch out. The adjustment screw is just a regular screw, righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. Now, how much should you tighten the bow? Really, just about your pinky should be able to go through in the middle of the bow, between the stick and the hair, just about so. You don't want it too tight, but you don't want it too loose. This is the frog. Here, we'll call this the dot, but I believe this is called the eyepiece, but we're really just going to call it the dot for practical reasons. This is silver. Its technical term is ferrule, but we're going to just call it silver. This is the bow here. And also we have rosin, and rosin is essentially bow food. So be careful with the rosin. If you drop it on a hard surface, it will shatter, but you take your rosin in your left hand. What I like to do is my left hand, I keep it palm open. I'll put it in the palm of my hand. I will, with my right hand, will grab the bow like a sword by the frog. Again, never touch the hair, and then was gently just going to feed the bow. Now, you don't want so much rosin that there'll be rosin dust everywhere, but if you have a brand new bow and you don't have it rosined, it actually won't work. So you will either have to rosin for a while, you will basically just have to rub it until you could hear this sound. Yep, that's bow eating. Or you can, with scissors, chop up rosin dust, and then with a toothbrush, or just you could rub it on a piece of paper, but you want to get some of that fine dust onto the hair, and that way the bow will be played. So rosin is essentially bow food. All right, so now we're going to go through what the different parts of the bow are. The stick is the main part of the bow. So when we talk about the bow, really the main part is the stick, and it holds the bow hair, and the rest of the bow parts are used to play the violin, producing the sound. More expensive bows are made from Pernambuco wood, which comes from Brazil, but many other types of wood and materials are used, such as Brazil wood, plastic, fiberglass, carbon fiber, and many different composites. The hair of the bow comes from a horse's tail. The horses are never hurt. They simply just get a haircut, and it's just their tail. It goes back. Okay, we make bows to make beautiful music. Did you know that a typical violin bow has about 160 to 200 individual bow hairs in one bow? Each bow hair has tiny little scales similar to fish, and those scales grab the rosin, which makes the horse hair stick to the string when the bow is moved across the string, making the string vibrate, which in turn vibrates the body of the violin, excite air, and produce beautiful sound. So the bow hair is really, really important. And the most prized bow hair in violins are from Mongolia. The northern climates, and specially bred horses, the really harsh cold climate makes the horse's tail very strong but flexible, and also very round, so that way when you move the bow across the string, it produces a very even tone. Rosin is essentially just a sticky substance that grabs the little, attaches itself to the tiny little scales on the bow hair, allowing there to be enough friction with the bow hair and the string to vibrate the string evenly. So you need to feed the bow just a little bit. You don't want to overdo it, but I would say a little bit every day. You got to rosin the bow. The tip holds the hair. So when the bow gets haired or re-haired, these 160 to 200 bow hairs are wrapped individually at both ends. And then it's the reason for the tip to have this shape is that bunched hair goes inside. There is a cavity, and then it gets plugged there with a piece of wood so it doesn't come out. But the reason for this is to make sure that the one end can be secured. And the frog is the same thing. The silver or the ferrule comes out, There is mother of pearl here at the bottom, right, or just a piece of plastic. This also slides out, and inside the frog is actually hollow, and the other end of the bunched up bow hair that is tied is secured in there. And you'll notice that the bow here is kind of like a ribbon. So those 160 to 200 bow hairs are flat, and that is to create extra tension and enough resistance the bow can vibrate the string to produce a beautiful sound. The adjustment screw is just very simple. It's basically a screw. Now, the way that this works is really, really cool. So the end of the bow, we can actually pull out the adjustment screw, and you'll notice that it has threads, and the frog has a little piece here that basically there's a little channel, an empty channel. I know it's a little hard to see because I'm far, but there's a channel and the screw goes inside. And within this channel, when you tighten the bow, it moves the frog back. So when and if you do this, just make sure that you put the frog in first, that the hair is not twisted. And you will notice that as I tighten the bow, again, avoiding touching the hair, as I tighten the bow, I know it'll be a little hard to see on the camera, but we'll see if we can make this work. The frog is going to move back, and that's what tightens the bow. I know it's, again, I can't do a close-up, but the bow and the frog will move back as you tighten the screw. There's threads, and the threads pull the frog back, and that essentially tightens the bow. So I'm going to go a little tight. You'll notice how the bow is starting to bend the opposite way, right? It's now becoming a frown. We do not want this. And there's way more space than a pinky between the hair and the stick. So I'm going to loosen the bow to where there's just about maybe a pencil width or a pinky or a 1/4 of an inch. The silver is just helped to secure and have the bow hair flat and the bow. Again, it's called the ferrule, but we'll just stick with the silver. All right, the grip just helps us to have a good grip. That is, we're not on the stick itself or the wood or whatever material the bow is made from. And the eyepiece or the dot is purely decorative. So again, to tighten the bow should be about pinky width, right? Pinky or 1/4 inch or a pencil between the bow hair. And then when you're done playing, you should loosen the bow so that the hairs don't stretch out, because it is possible for the hairs to get so stretched out that you essentially either have to get a bow hair or just get a brand new bow. And remember to never touch the bow hair. Now, if you do touch the bow hair by accident and you'll notice how it doesn't quite play in that spot, what you could do is you could rosin in the spot extra, or you could create a little bit of rosin dust, and with the toothbrush that never gets used for humans, just for bows, you can grab that rosin dust and you can really rub it in, and that will usually fix it. And if the dirt or oil is so bad on the bow, you might have to get a new hair or a brand new bow. I hope you found this helpful. Next 2 lessons, we're going to learn how to hold the bow and how to move the bow to make beautiful sound. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, comment, and I'll see you in the next video.